Well, hi and welcome to Glitch 2600. Who am I? Well, I'm Brian, aka Glitch, your friendly host through all things geekery. And what's geekery? Well, all those electronic fun toys that you get. You want to know how they work? Photography, videography, computers, mobile phones. If you have a question, we can answer it for you. And you're here for a Glitch Byte, part of our Vlogmas 2020. We'll go beyond that. But what's Vlogmas 2020? Well, you can go back and see day one in our playlist on Vlogmas. But basically, it's just a way for us content creators to go live or create something new every day in December and bring something cool for you. Today, my Glitch Byte, or bite-sized info that you can consume in under 15 minutes, we're going to talk about camera overlays and Ecamm Live and the creative cool things you can do with that. So you might not know in the later version in 3.7, which is now 3.73 today, I saw there was an update, you get some cool capabilities to have your cameras be overlays. So in the past, you had your camera mode, and you could switch between them. You could add multiple cameras, but you couldn't move them around. They couldn't be very independent. You could go to something called blank scene and then do a picture-in-picture and move that around, but you were kind of limited on what you could do. Well, in this version, you can now make camera overlays, and they can be sized and moved around independently. You can have copies of the same one and do all sorts of cool stuff. So the best way to show that is to literally show it. So if I were to come over here, I'm going to switch this over into live demo mode because I like that. And so we're going to switch over there. And that will cover me up a little bit, but you'll see right now, the way it used to be, if I was in camera mode, I could switch like this and kind of go back and forth. If I wanted to add two cameras, I can go like that, but you notice I can't move them around. I can't do a whole lot from that aspect. And because of that, you would find it a little bit limiting. Now you could do picture-in-picture and you can move that picture-in-picture around, but if you added more cameras to it, they had to move together. So it didn't mean you could have a camera up here and a camera down, in that area, but now you can. In the past, you can kind of get creative with it by switching into something called blank mode. So you can switch your source to blank and then use your cameras as sources. As you can see here, I can kind of move them together and then I could switch them to something called stacked. At that point, I could say make it tall and kind of go that way and size them up. But as you can tell, that was limiting. Not quite what we were going for. So now, let's make a new scene. So in fact, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this scene. I could do new blank, but I'm lazy and want to keep my border going on here, so I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate it using that icon right over there, next to the folder. So I hit duplicate, and now that I have this one, I'm going to go ahead and switch my source to blank because I don't necessarily want my camera on there. I'm going to turn it off here in a second, so I'm going to say none there, and see, there's nothing. I'm not there. I'm gone. But I can come over here to the overlays and hit that little camera icon right there. So you can kind of see it over there, all the way over there. But what's cool is I can move this. So let me move my picture-in-picture one over. But see, now I can do a bunch of stuff. I can size this. I can click it and decide if I want to make it tall or custom. Custom lets me do all different funky shapes and sizes. Where tall lets me do tall. I can also pick another camera. So the fact that I have another camera right there, I can add that one. And then I can add a second camera. So now I can kind of move these around and get really creative. Sorry, I've been had to sneeze all day and it keeps wanting to come back on me. It's driving me crazy. But because these can be overlaid, see how this is over the top? If I want that one up, I just have to drag it above. And now this is over the top of that one. So I can now size that. So in this case, we're going to go like that, click it and say, you know what, we want this one to be square so it shows a little bit more of it. And I can still pan and zoom it, but if I go like this, I can throw this behind this overlay, just as simple as my normal one. So I can just go, hey, put that below my normal overlay scene. And I can drag it and size it. But now I can have this one over here, and I can move it around now. So just like the normal stuff, if I clicked over here and switched to that camera up in that top corner, I can still pan and zoom this buddy. So I can go like that and move it around. And see, now I have a picture-in-picture that I can move around. Or if I had another graphic, let's say we don't care for this one, and we go to one of my other ones, I can now go, hey, here's my camera one, but instead of having to do a picture-in-picture and move that around, I can now add a camera overlay, switch it to my other source, and move that puppy around, which lets me put different things on the scene. Maybe if I had an NDI source like another computer, it would be a really good way for me to use that in another scene. So if I trash this one and see how I have these pip ones, if I were to switch over to this one, normally it's got my screen share, I could instead switch this to blank and use my camera overlays to bring in a computer right there, you know, using the NDI, because the NDI would show up as another camera source, as would an iPad. So now I can use my iPad and move those around. So with that, I can do a lot of different things. I'm going to switch back so you guys can at least see me. But it shows some of the cool stuff I can do. Because of that, I can layer those out. And the really cool thing, so while we're in here, I can have more than just one. You saw if I added another one, I can have two of me. I mean, hi, Brian. Hi, Brian. You know, if I wanted to. The thing you should know is that with these, when you do make a change, like if I came here to the black magic design up in the top corner up there, if I'd make a brightness change, it brightens both. They are tied together. They don't work independently. I do wish that worked, because then I could do some really cool effects with colors. But having said that, I did make a little something special. So we'll switch over to this test scene. And you'll see, if I scroll down here, I made a camera left, high, a camera right, high again, and a camera center. Which you're like, well, great. There's three of Brian, 3 glitches. That seems like a royal glitch. Well, I could maybe do something like this with an overlay. And so now I've got my red and green for my Christmas Eve feel. Maybe I want to go one step farther and drag this one up above. Now I'm in a regular color, and I've got my festive versions on the side. And then I could go, hey, let's make it Christmassy. I can go one step farther and say, you know what? Those two are on, you know, in snow, and then there's just me. And then still go ahead, you know, I don't want to leave my craft beer crew out, you know, with their Iowa craft beer shirts, but here you go. Let's go round, and we want to let them join in the festivities down here. And then, you know, I'll come up here, click, and then pan and zoom them around so that they're front and center. I want them to feel part of this scene. And look at that. They get to hang out and be part of the fun here now. And I could size them around. I can make them smaller. Heck, I can put one in each one. And because this is an overlay, I could drop them also below the snow. And so now they get their own snow. Heck, I could even make them part of the red, which I don't know why I would do that. I'm just showing you there's a lot of creativity and pieces you can do with that. And even if we switched over and I showed you my Photoshop file for this, it's really not that hard. All I did was create a layer. You know, I doubt you can actually see because it's, if you can show my screen or not, I probably didn't screen share that enough. But if you see it on there, you would know all I did was create 3 layers and set the opacity on each one to a different opacity. So this far left one here, this one right there, well, it's going to be either way. The left on your screen is a deep red, and I lowered the opacity to around 50%. The center has none, although I made a white square and lowered its opacity to around 50% also. And then the green is the same thing. So I just made 3 squares on the screen, lowered their opacity to around 50%, and exported them as a PNG. So if you see each one, I have made another one, so that's where it's a little stronger, just so you can see. Or if I lower the opacity on there, you'll see that's a little stronger version. So that's where they're at around 60%. So I just raised and lowered the opacity of those before I exported those PNGs. But it shows how you can do something fun and creative even with your cameras. I could, again, instead make my Iowa Craft beer kids on this far left just by making them tall. So all I have to do is click that bad boy, click edit on it. Well, better if I click on it. Turn off my animation since what's behind it is what shows, and make that puppy tall. Size it up here. Probably don't have to pan and zoom it quite so much now, since they're a little bit more front and center. And get a little bit more love here. Zoom them just a little bit to the side. And now, if I were to lower them below my little red and turn back on my animation, now they get to be a real part of the show. They get to be a real, beer crew there. Or like I said, if I were to hide that, cover up that one spot there. There we go. Come on. Kind of see where it was overlaying in there. So since I was messing around with that, get that size just right. Drop it below, and then turn it back on. So there you go. You can mess with it. It just gives you an idea of what you can do with these overlays. With these camera overlays, you can have multiple versions of you. You can have cameras all over the place. If you've got multiple, heck, if you hook up your Canon, your Sonys, all those via USB, an iPhone, an iPad, you can have your iPhone going in one section, an iPad in another, scream through there. And you could have cool things. You have web page. You can kind of cycle through all sorts of different overlay effects. You can do a green screen with it and have your kind of right on. But we'll cover that in another Glitch Byte, because that seems like a tip for another day. Maybe tomorrow, maybe for Christmas, because we will be coming live tomorrow. So if you found that useful, hopefully you did. And if you're still here, then I'm assuming you found that useful. But if so, please come and subscribe to us on YouTube down below. You can also use that link over there if you're watching this on a computer. Just hover over it with the camera on your phone or smart device, and it'll say, hey, do you want to open up that link? Click yes, click subscribe, and then hit the bell to be notified. It will let you know when we're going live. Also, you can come and join us on Facebook. We'd love to see you there too, especially if you're already watching there. Then why not come on over and follow the page there as well. And you'll see this. We broadcast on both. And we will be having a Geek Out coming soon. With Christmas, we decided to take a little bit of time off, and we will be having another happy hour. But you can look for another Glitch Byte tomorrow, because like I said, we're doing it every day, and there's no rest. Even when it's Christmas, we're going to do something cool, and I'll have a cool tip for you. I've got a couple ideas. I'm whipping them up as I go right now. In the future, we'll still keep going, and we'll have a plan. You'll probably catch those. We'll pick a day of the week, 2 days a week, and likely run those out. But if you liked this, please go subscribe and let us know if there's a tip or something you want to learn. We would love, love, love to cover that. And, you're just giving us ideas for it. So thanks for joining. Happy Christmas Eve. And hope if we don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and then Happy New Year. Hopefully you're back before then. But I had fun. I hope you had fun. And I'll catch you tomorrow.